Want to introduce yourself for the audience here?
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name's Maddox. I live in Oregon, and this is my first time doing online video conference thingy, whatever you call these.
Yeah, Instagram Live first time.
Yeah, first
That's
time.
awesome.
Yeah.
Just adjust that really quick. Um, so you just had a big fishing trip.
Yeah, yeah.
How did it go?
It went good. Yeah, I caught a couple bass, Willamette River, and then took my brother to the Tualatin and caught a couple bluegill and a minnow pike. So that was,
Cool.
yeah, it was super fun.
Uh, um, is that your big thing? Is that what you like to do when you have
Uh,
time?
Yeah, I like fishing. I also do projects around the house. So like I've made an electric longboard in my spare time and done some backyard renovations ish.
Okay. Wow. So you've been busy.
Yeah, I'm pretty busy this quarter.
Um, how has it been with the shutdowns and school and all that stuff?
It's been good. School wise, it's been pretty easy. Um, Generally because all the teachers have all their stuff online, all their curriculum online. Makes it easy to get everything, get the information. Yeah.
So we're here with the International Dyslexia Association, Oregon branch, joined by Maddox. Just kind of getting into the conversation here. Can you talk to us about before you were diagnosed and with dyslexia and like the challenges that had on you?
Yeah, I can. So, I was diagnosed when I was 13, so seventh grade,
Okay.
and that was pretty recently. I'm 15 now, so a couple years ago. And before, I lived in Scotland, and my parents and I never really knew anything. Like never, we just thought I was bad and didn't really a bad learner in general, so they never really thought anything about it. And then I a hard time learning how to read and basic math and all the general stuff. Uh, and when I moved here to the U.S. When I was 8, my parents they kind of noticed something because a lot of the teachers just were like, "Oh, well," they just never really paid attention to me because I wasn't. They're like, "Oh, he's okay, whatever." But then in sixth grade, I got tested, and then the end of sixth grade, and then beginning of seventh grade, I got diagnosed with dyslexia, and then did some tutoring, and that took about a couple years. So yeah,
How how did you feel before you were diagnosed? Like, were you concerned at all, or were you just kind of going with it, or?
I kind of went along with it. I didn't think much of it. I just thought I was bad at learning, and I just never really paid attention in class
Yeah.
and along for the ride.
Before I kind of understood what dyslexia was for myself, like I felt like I was dumb or like I just didn't get
Yeah.
the what was going on in the classroom. So just curious how you experienced it, and what was it like reading a sheet for you? Like, could you like
I
what was that experience like?
It was really confusing. It was like reading cursive for the first time. Like you had no clue what any of this, what barely anything even meant. Um, and also, I couldn't get the basic words down. I get them jumbled up, and teachers would be like, just freak out about it and be really annoying. So I never really paid attention to any of that, and just kind of just went straight over my head.
Yeah. So if you're just joining us, we're talking to Maddox, talking about how he was diagnosed with dyslexia when he was 13. He's 15 now, just going through it, the challenges with it. Um, what was it like after you started getting tutoring? How's that experience been? And do you feel more comfortable in the classroom?
I do feel more comfortable. It's way easier to read out loud in class, although I generally don't like it, but I can read grade level now, which is really amazing for me at least.
Nice.
Better in class. way better, so that's good. And for the tutoring, I did a did 2 sessions a week with my tutor Tamara Boring
Okay.
for about a year and a half, and I got caught up to grade level within the first month, so I had everything reading wise down within the first 6 months, and then after that, I was worked on grammar, and it's really been a bit. I've been able to write and do most of the stuff that kids can, most of it.
How has it been for you working with the tutoring? Did you have any resistance to it? Was it like a relief or?
I was reluctant but grateful at the same time. Like I knew something that was good for me, but it just seemed kind of lame.
I can empathize with that. I get that.
Well,
uh,
you know.
well, now that you're kind of like, you're kind of in a, in an interesting spot because you've seen the benefits of it. What advice would you give to students that are kind of like just getting into tutoring or starting that process?
Um, it's okay to be reluctant about it, but just go along with it. It really helps in the end. You'll be able to. You won't feel like you're. It's really a big help. You should just go along with it, even if it seems really dumb at first. Like they start at the very basics. Just go along with it, and eventually you get to something, and they'll help you through it. Unlike most teachers, where they'll just like throw you at it, and if you don't get it, you will. But the tutors will help you. They will get you
Yeah.
through it.
It's kind of like those basic fundamentals. Like you just got
Yeah,
to get that under your belt, and then
yeah. You just
you,
gotta get the basics down, and then with the tutors go through the basics, and then you get through them. It's kind of everything's kind of gets repetitive, but it's good.
right. That
Yeah.
totally makes yeah, totally makes sense. Um, do you use assistive technology in the classroom?
Yes, I do a lot. I for reading especially like for reading a lot.
Do you what do you use audio? Are you audiobooks or
I use Learning Ally
okay?
during the class.
And do you have any? So some students are reluctant to use assistive technology. They don't want to stand out or be different in the classroom. Has that been an issue at all, or have you just?
Um, it it's kind of awkward at first. You kind of have to like explain it to everybody, and especially with substitutes. They'll never just the substitutes just if they say don't do it, just do it anyways, and it'll
Yeah.
get over. But
On that note, how is advocating like for yourself? Like, has that been a
that
challenge?
that's been a big challenge. It feels super awkward just going up to the teachers and just explaining it to them for the first time, and a lot of them won't get what's happening, and they'll be like, "No," and then you have to go to the administrator and be like, "Hey, she's or he is being blah," and you have to
Yeah.
really awkward. It's in an awkward position to be in, but then after you do it like once or twice, it's fine. It
Yeah.
feels normal.
Right. Well, have you learned any tricks in advocating for yourself that you could share that maybe listeners would pick?
Yeah. One thing that I do kind of get, get warmed up to talk to a teacher that might seem scary is talk to your parents. Just like go over like some just role play with your parents. It really helps because they just tend to be a teacher that's really, and then they'll be like, oh yeah, I know that, and because at that point in time, your parents also have to talk to the teachers about your dyslexia and just your 504 if you have one or haven't got one yet, and they'll know. It just helps it once or twice with your parents.
Yeah. So are you using are you on a 504? Are you on an IEP or
I'm on a 504.
504? Okay. So if you're just joining us, we're with the International Dyslexia Association Oregon branch here with Maddox, member of the student panel, big fisherman. Uh, just got done with the trip, but talking about dyslexia, advocating, dealing with the challenges of using assistive technology, and advocating. So if you have questions, please drop us a line as we go through this. Can we talk about spelling?
Yes.
And how do you cope with that? Or is that okay? Let me rephrase. Is spelling an issue or challenge?
Yes, it is.
Okay, it was for me too. Still is on some levels. What coping mechanisms do you use to?
Well, for spelling, at first I kind of just did whatever, and I had my teachers review it or mom review it. But then now is I use autocorrect a lot. That's a big one. And I also with tutoring, I did a lot of word construction, just like going through the basics of works.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and that helps. But right now, what I do is I have an app which I use for my assistive technologies where I talk into my phone, and if I don't know how to spell the word, it spells it for me.
Oh, that's cool.
So I forgot the name of it, but I have
Oh,
really
maybe yeah, maybe just send it to that text and we can share it out later.
yeah.
If you come up with the name. I think it's cool because a lot of questions we get are what are good apps out there, what's good assisted technology to use. Do you use that type of do you use that app for like writing papers, or is
Uh,
it
yes, I do. I use it
okay?
a lot in papers.
Gotcha. Um, so what would you say your like strengths are?
Um, I I'm really good at well, people have told me I'm good at uh, making robots, and also about figuring hands-on projects out, and I'm pretty good at chemistry and physics, and that's
And
seems
that's okay. So like the sciences and
yeah.
the do
Mechanic.
you so do you see the world in like pictures, or like in order to put that stuff together, or how does that work for you?
Um, like everyday objects, like class and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I see it. I don't know how other people see it, but I just see it as like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. How does that work? And I just kind of
Okay.
can kind of think of how it works. That's kind of what I.
Okay. So you're putting it together that way.
Yeah.
You're gotcha. Uh, it's interesting because I think just with dyslexia, there's not like one
No.
strength. It's all these different strengths that our individuals have. Would you say dyslexia is giving you that ability, or do you think that's just
Yeah,
separate?
for sure. There are some things that come like they're not so good at dyslexia, like reading, obviously, and like
Sure.
writing and math. But there are some other strengths, like when with math as well. For me personally, I'm pretty good with algebra. Weirdly enough, do the relative ease. It's just don't like the way I do it. Like,
Got you.
but
You do
yeah,
it in your head, or you don't need it to.
I skip a lot of steps, but
Okay,
so I mean, like that's all really counts to me.
it's all that matters. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Another advantage to having dyslexia, kind of see things a little bit differently depending on what you have, but it generally is a really good thing. Like for me, I can understand how I can kind of grasp it really well when it comes to like mechanically building things. I've made my own electric longboard, and that was a breeze. And I've worked on a couple other projects, like I put a two-stroke engine on my friend's bike and watched him go 30 miles an hour down the road. Um,
Uh,
um,
that is impressive. So Shelby's on the line, and she's saying he's so great at making other students feel okay with dyslexia. Always willing to share. from your experience in events. So that's really cool. Have you always been into robots and like that type of stuff? Has that just been a natural?
Not always. It's been the past couple years, but before I was into, I think every kid been into this at some point, but it's dinosaurs and like
Oh yeah,
old creatures. I mean, like everybody loves those, but
yeah,
like who doesn't?
yeah, yeah.
Dinosaurs. But I remember in uh first primary or something, when I lived in Scotland, uh one of the teachers was asking kids for a curriculum, like a just like a side curriculum that he wanted to do. And we ended up going with my idea of having dinosaurs. I brought in like my dinosaur toys, and then all the other kids bring this like car thing. And it was just super cool. I mean, it's like dinosaurs. First, the best.
Yeah, yeah.
I gotta choose.
They're big creatures. I mean, like how you can't go wrong.
No, there's no way to go with dinosaurs. They're being eaten.
Um, what is some of the things that students might need picking up with regard to dyslexia? Have you noticed? Like, what are some things that you think students out there are dealing with right now that you've seen or that you've heard experience wise?
Um, something that
Maybe like the challenges of it.
oh, well, I've definitely seen some kids that haven't been diagnosed, but obviously have it, just from looking around and listening to conversations that I probably shouldn't be listening to, but I did. Um, there a lot of the things that I've noticed is a lot of kids who have dyslexia have really hard time just buckling down and working on like a long writing assignment or like history um, or just like trying to understand the concept of math or like how to write something like the or say the,
Yeah. Right.
and it's just yeah.
That's kind of, yeah, makes sense. So if you could have like part of the deal is I want you to be able you get the last word. If you had a message to the world about dyslexia, being it addressing students or educators, what would your message be?
Um, you will get through it. You're not alone, and that if you ask, and once you get the hang of asking for help, it becomes super easy to get through it and get through high school and school in general.
Cool.
That's what happened.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to join us tonight. And
Thank
I'm
you.
glad we got your first Instagram Live show done.
Yeah, thank you.
uh, and keep crushing it. It's awesome what you're doing and the work you're doing for the International Dyslexia Association Oregon branch and being an advocate for other students and an inspiration to them. It's awesome, man.
Yes, thank you for inviting me and letting me have this opportunity.
Definitely. Take care. Have a great night.
Yes, you too. Bye bye.